Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly discussion series that's hosted by the Chaldean Cultural Center in collaboration with U of M Detroit Center, Unique Voices in Films, and CMN TV. Today, our guest is Mahir Awrahem. Welcome, Mahir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mahir has a very interesting bio that includes him being an Aramaic teacher, but he received a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics from the University of Mosul in 1990, a Master of Science degree in computer sciences from the University of Detroit Mercy in 2000, and Masters in Business Administration, Applied Computer Sciences from Northcentral University in 2012. He studied theology, Bible, philosophy, and church history from Theology School at Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church in Mosul, Iraq from 1986 to 1990. And he served our community in Michigan as a member of the board of directors at the Chaldean Federation of America from 1999 to 2005. He's also a member of the board directors and Michigan chapter at Assyrian Aid Society of America. And that was from 2002 to 2013. So Mahir, aside from that, you are married with 2 children. So how in the world are you able to juggle all of that? I met you as an Aramaic teacher. You were providing, and you are still providing classes in for Aramaic. At the time, we had the pandemic, so you were providing them online for no cost at Holy Martyrs Church, and now they are in person. And I hear that your classes have been kind of sold out, as they say, for the past couple of semesters. So I'm really excited to learn more about your classes. But I first wanted to learn a little bit about your background and your relationship with the Aramaic language. So where were you born, and how did that lead to you learning Aramaic, including reading and writing it?
Okay. Again, thank you, and Ganab Basinta for having me here in this interview. I was born in Telkeppe, and I raised in Telkeppe for almost 20 years. I was in Telkeppe. I learned Surah from my parents, or Aramaic. I like to use Surah, the new Aramaic word we use for that one. And that's a spoken way, because everyone speaks Surah there. Even the people immigrating to Telkeppe, they start learning Surah and speaking Surah, because the majority people, they speak Surah. And my reading and writing portion, we were not allowed to teach this language in school by the government of Iraq, and that is not allowed to teach it for some political issue, and also some other things they have in their mind, as the majority of Arabs are Muslims. And here, my grandfather, Awrahem, he used to come over in the summer, and he was a deacon, and my dad was a deacon, and I was about 8 years old, and they sit in the courtyard in our house, and they start doing Sloth Dramsha, evening prayer. So my dad from this side, my grandfather from this side, and they start reading from the book and doing Ramsha every day. And I just, the way they say the word was kind of different, the way we speak it. So I fall in love with this language. Somehow, I don't know, I want to learn the language. I don't know how I'm going to learn it. Till I was in, the 11th grade, okay, I went to church, to the Sloth Dramsha, and I saw that's what my parents, my grandpa and my dad, is doing it at a church. And my friend, all of them are deacons, and I stay in the back, they are reading, and I'm doing this one and just listening what happened. They are not something new to me, but, I love this one. And we exit from the church, and we stop outside, and Father Boji came and he said, "Hey, Mahir, you want to learn the language?" I said, "Yes." Then one of my friend was in my classroom. He said, "We're going to start tomorrow learning the alphabet. Alphabet, that's mean alphabetical, the letters. And I said, okay, I'm so happy you're gonna help me with that and so on. So we start 5 minutes a day for 5 days. I learned the letters, I learned the vowels, and then I start writing my name on the wall and somewhere at home. And then my dad saw that and he said, do you know how to write Surat? I said, I'm learning, but no one is teaching me. I want to be Shamasha. So soon he heard that I want to be Shamasha. He left everything. He sit with me. He started teaching me from A to Z, reading, translation from the classical to spoken language as well. And I end up being Shamasha there with all other, and honestly, I love it. I was doing this one, and that's how it came with learning the language, reading and writing. But even when I left Iraq to Syria and then to Russia and then to Europe, I always kept myself reading and maintaining my skills and reading and writing Surat as well, but just having some newspaper or something like that written in Surat and reading it as well. So that's how exactly started. 5 days a day, 5 days, 5 minutes a day.
Okay, I was just gonna say, yeah, if you want to learn a new language, 5 minutes a day is all it takes. So it's not that complicated, but you do need to have another ingredient, which is the love for it, which you had the love and the passion, obviously, for it.
Yeah.
And if you could tell us a little bit about the history of the Aramaic language, and you have a book. And the book, the title, I'm sorry, I don't have it right in front of me. Can you share the title? Although I have purchased it. I have an ebook, so that you can show us the chart via your ebook. And what's the name of it, please?
The book is called Al-Abath, an introduction to Syriac language, Eastern dialect. And then I'm going to come to explain what exactly mean by Eastern dialect and why we call it Eastern dialect. And do you want me to share, or?
Yeah, please. Yes, I made you co-host, so you can share. That would be wonderful.
And talk about this one here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is exactly what we call the Aramaic language family. And Aramaic is like a Semitic language originally spoken by Asian Middle East people, Hebrew people or Jews, Arabs, Syriac people, and all majority people they used to live in that century. I mean, in that area. I'm sorry. It has been in use since the 11th century before Christ, or before Jesus. Let me say before Jesus, and was quickly accepted as non-Greek for Eastern Christian for religion after in the first centuries. They are very close, again, as I mentioned, to the Hebrew, to the Syriac, and was derived from the Phoenician alphabet back to the 10, and that is the oldest script we have, is about 10 to 11 century before Jesus. By the 8th century before Jesus, it had become accepted by the Assyrians at that time, and they were ruling the whole region by that time, 8th century before, and was accepted as a second language. And because all the wars and deportation of people by the Assyrian Empire, and also the Aramaic was adapted by the business, let's say business level of the Chaldean or Babylonian people at that time. So it was kind of supplanted. The Akkadian language was used in the Middle East before that time. During the Roman times, which was like 200 years before the Christ, up to the fourth century of after Christ, the Aramaic dialects, I want to remember that. You see here that the map I show there is kind of like, is showing to you all the dialects the Aramaic have or that been used. They kept those language because the Roman Empire, they did not force people to not speak their language. They were just like, okay, we need the taxes, we need the power, we need this. We don't care what you talk, what you do, what you worship. We want you to give us the taxes. That's all. This is our main thing for Roman empires at that time. So they kept the language. There was used, and when even Jesus spoke the Aramaic, the Western dialect of it, and even the first Christianity was based on the Western dialect of the Aramaic. Okay, so that is up to 4th century, and after that, the Middle East was divided between the two biggest empires, the Roman and Persian. Also, Persian, they did not force the people, our people, they live east of Euphrates River to not speak their language. They didn't care about that. They don't want to care, or they don't even, they adopt the Aramaic to use it in their government level for document and so on. So that's exactly it's a little history of it. And I need to just to mention or talk about this diagram I have here, that the Aramaic language was divided to two based on the region at that time, the East Aramaic and the West Aramaic. If you look at the West Aramaic, there are almost like what we call it now, Jerusalem and Palestine. That is the area where exactly happened, and also Lebanon as well. And the one we speak now, the one we use, and I like to call it Surah, and also is known as Swidaya, Lushana Swidaya, and also Lushana Pushka. And some people, they call it based on their church, what church they go to. For example, Chaldean, they call it Chaldean language, and Assyrian, Eastern Assyrian church, they use it Assyrian and so on. But academically, honestly, I found that the word we use it in English is Syriac. So that's why my book is titled with the Syriac Eastern dialect. And if you look at this one and the Eastern Aramaic, the Eastern Aramaic itself is divided to the north and south. And the north, which is our part here, I don't want to talk about the south, okay, is divided to the east and west. East means people are living east of the Euphrates River, okay, us, Telkeppe, for example, Al-Qush, and all these villages, Baghdad, Bartullah, and then north of Iraq and south of Turkey, northwest of Iran. And the west one was like Tur Abdin, Syria, Lebanon, Jerusalem, all Jordan. They spoke the Western dialect of this language. What is the difference between them? Why Eastern and Western? I have a very good experience when I moved to Syria, when I was in Syria for 3 years, and I worked for the guy, great guy, and he's from Western Syriac dialect people. And I learned the language from them, and they are very close. You cannot believe how close they are. The only thing that they shape the font. Originally, the fonts, the alphabet we have, is the Eastern dialect one, the one I use for my book. So the Western dialect, they kind of changed the shape of the letters, but they kept the number of letters, the name of the letters, and they reduced the number of vowels. From 7, we have 7 in the Eastern, they reduced that one to 5. And that's where the Arabic language grammar came from. The new Arabic we know now, the vowels, the letters, and so on, they are coming from that part of most like from the Western dialect of the Syriac language. So
and that's in the Palestinian and Israeli region mostly?
Yes, Syria, most likely in Syria. That's how I learned this. They spoke the Western dialect, and it's not hard. It's a different accent. Let's say it's a different accent. Just they use it different way of talking, like British and Irish when they speak to. American language and Irish language could be kind of hard for for you to understand it if you are American speaker here. And this has happened even with the Eastern dialect itself. We have accents. You're not going to believe that I'm from Telkeppe, and Batnayi is north of Telkeppe 3 miles. How far is 3 miles? You can walk it. I used to walk to Batnayi. They have kind of different accent of saying some words. And when they speak, we can tell he is Bebatnaya or he is Al-Qushnaya or is from this village and that village. And it's a language. They kept it inside that village, that town, and they use some certain word. Telkeppe, they use a different way. I'm going to give you an example, not to go on more. Like when I say bread, okay, in Telkeppe we say lukhma, lukhma. Just Telkeppe, they say lukhma. If you go far, they're going to say lakhma. You see,
yeah.
This is one example. I'm telling you that because I'm really very good with the accents of our people, because I talk to people and I know exactly how they say it, what does mean, and so on. Sometimes I speak with the northern people just like them, and they say, how come you are Telkeppe? How come you can speak this dialect? And I mean, this accent. It's practicing. It's my language. It's nothing, honestly, different than the one I speak in Telkeppe. The only thing, it's you guys use this word, I use this word. They are both the same meaning. I mean, the way, same meaning.
So then my question to you, based on what you're saying, Mahir, you're saying that during the Persian Empire and then in different parts of the Middle East, that the language that people, Mahir? Oh, I think I just lost him. Okay, if you just give us a minute, I'm gonna try to see if I can get him back on. Okay, he's coming back on. Just 1 second, everyone.
Sorry, we am.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah.
Happen.
That's fine, not a problem. So my question is, Mahir, is since you said that during the Persian Empire that that language continued to be used and there was no issues with that in other parts of the Middle East, then how did it end up dying out over time?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, honestly, it was supplanted by Arabs, Muslim, when they invaded, when they came over the Syria and Iraq. Just because, the rules this religion and people they come with, that you have to convert to Islam or you have to put the jizya or being killed. What happened, first they forced to write the Quran using Syriac letters. Have you heard about Gershuni?
Yes, I have heard of it.
Okay, Gershuni means writing different language using Syriac letters. And this has happened when they wrote the Quran to be for people they don't speak Arabic at that time in Syria and Iraq, Lebanon, or all other region, they used to speak the Syriac or the Surat language. And I myself, when I used to serve at the church in Telkeppe, I saw something like, the letters of Paul, okay, written in Chaldean or Surat letters, but when you read it, they are in Arabic. You hear it in Arabic. So people, whoever Shamasha cannot read or deacon cannot read Arabic, he can read that in Surat, but people, they hear it in Arabic. So that's what we call it Gershuni. Because people cannot afford the jizya, they convert to Islam. And for many years, that language has not been used. We were not allowed to teach it in the school. And I heard that Umar bin Khattab, the second Khalifa after Muhammad passed away, he ordered that do not teach, close all the Syriac schools, and just let him do the language at a church. You know what I mean? Like,
So you can continue, so the language can continue, but only in certain establishments.
yes, churches, and also kept since that day in
And what? I'm sorry, church and what?
Churches, and they, in the villages, they kept the language talking between them. Okay, just like we did in Telkeppe and Al-Qush, so people, they still talk, but we were not allowed to teach it till 1991, where the north of Iraq was separated from the government of Iraq. Okay, that's what they called the fly zone.
So was that the autonomous region for Kurdistan?
Yes.
Or is that different? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
At that time, they started teaching the language from A to Z in schools, and I had a chance or opportunity to visit those schools, and I attend the classes in physics, chemistry, and biology. So I said, and there were everything in Surah from A to Z, and beside those learning everything in Surah, okay, they learned the English, they learned the Kurdish, and they learned the Arabic as well.
Interesting. I didn't know that really, that they had that, that the classes that they held were so complex and taught
There are
kind of subject matters.
There are two types of schools they teach the language, our language. A school they call the Syriac school and teach A to Z everything in Surah. And the other schools are offering classes every year, every grade. They have a class in Surah to learn only the language. Probably the subjects or the materials or the curriculums are in Kurdish if they are in the north, and is in Arabic if they are in south of the Kurdish and north area.
So what I'd like to ask you is that, so what led you to decide to teach Aramaic, to write a book that teaches Aramaic? I mean, you even ended up creating an app called, it's an Aramaic Chaldean app for Mango languages. So you've been really involved in the language, not just about learning it, but to pass it on. So what is your motivation behind that? What led you to that process? And what are you doing today to help continue preserve the language?
Let me see if I understood your question, but starting teaching the language was since Telkeppe. Between 86 to 88, I used to teach it to youth at a church in Telkeppe till I was stopped by the government. They send a message. They probably, I know for sure, they gather information why I'm meeting with the youth. First, in case I'm not making any party against the government, that's is number one. And when they were sure I'm not creating a new party against the political party, okay? So they went to the priest, Lucian Jamil, God rest his soul, he passed today in Duhok, and I'm so sorry to hear that. He was my teacher in theology, and he was my priest beside Father Boji and Rafael Kanuna too. So I'm so sorry to hear that, and I really pray for his family too. He was kind of good knowledge guy and very strong guy in Telkeppe. He saved Telkeppe from many attacks, to be honest with you. So he was told me that they came after you and they asked you, and they told him somehow, let Mahir stop this teaching. But I did not stop it. I was not meeting with all the group at one time, but I was meeting with an individual who wants to be a deacon and serve at the church. So I start meeting with girls or boys that want to be a deacons in Telkeppe. So I tried to teach them, I think, till I left Telkeppe to Mosul in 1988, and then to Syria in 91. I stopped teaching. I was not able to teach. I was just working till 2008. Ashtar Culture Center, UFD Mercy, and a guy from Ashtar Culture Center approached me to teach the Chaldean or the Syriac or the wherever Syriac language in a partnership with Detroit Mercy. The Detroit Mercy, they're going to adopt this one. They're going to give it credit for this one. They're going to do the replacement exam. I'm going to teach it at Ashtar Culture Center in Sterling Heights. In 3 months' time, I was able to create the curriculum, and I was able to create the lectures for the 2 classes we offering, the language and the history part of it. In 2009, the first class was started, okay, and like official class, college level class with the credit offered by UD Mercy. Many students from Wayne State, UFM, okay, took the class, and they still taking the class till this time. And we've been offering this class 3 semesters a year. In kind of, at that time, and you spoke about mango, I used to give only like lectures, nothing really. Then I tried to make a booklet and give it to my students only, not to publish, not to sell. Okay, because it was not, I know it was not up to that level I can publish the book. But as a lectures, as a document to the students to take the class, to do the homework, to do the exams, on all this to get the credit was good enough. You mentioned the Aramaic Chaldean class with the Mango languages, and I was approached by Mr. Menna in 2017, and really I like the idea. What I learned from that one was a lot, helped me a lot with my book. To have to deal with the linguist professional, which she is a Greek background, she lives in England, and all the meeting was through the Skype. She is very excellent and very professional in this matter, and I learned how exactly what to do for our Mango class with her help. So we work on it. We put the 10 chapters together. I create that one, about 6,000 words and statements for that one. People, they can hear it and using my voice, because I recorded myself too, because there was no one can read and to record it. So I recorded myself with the help of a female voice, sister. I mean, she's not sister, but she's like a sister to me. Jumhuriya, she works for Martin Menna too, and she speaks a little bit Chaldean, read the Chaldean too. I appreciate that she helped me with that. And we end up that one. Really, I spent about 18 months to make this 10 chapters live and used by everyone. It's easy to have account. It's free if you're gonna go to that one. It's through the library, any library, public library, they have it. Many of them they have. Sterling has, they have. Shelby, they have now. You can get it from their account, and you can listen. It's Mango. It's not only one language, but we focus on the Chaldean. I myself use Mango too. I'm not doing advertising for them, but to use the tool to learn the language you like, you love, wherever you want. That's just going to be a great thing to have in your app. It's an app. You can listen to any conversation at that time.
So I listened to Mango to the Chaldean classes. I did not know that was you. So here we go. Fast forward a couple of years. Fast forward a couple of years and I'm interviewing you about this. That's why I was smiling, because it's really good. It was a very nice way. I felt like it's an easy way. And it's fun way, nowadays everything is digital, so it's nice and fun way. And the same feeling I got about your book. I got the ebook, but I know that you also have it in print. Can you please repeat the name of your book again? Or people can also, if they look up your name, Mahir Awrahem, you can find it on Amazon, by the way.
Yes, it's on Amazon. You can order from there, or you can order from AramaiCstudies.org website. Is the one this website is for the class we offer. Not only, we have two classes with two types of courses we offer with the Aramaic studies. The first one is the college credit. You can get some credit with your school for your foreign language. Some schools, they recognize our class and they give up to 4 classes foreign language credit. So you take one class with us, you get 4 classes, foreign language classes you need for your graduation. Some of them 1, some of them 2. It depends on the school. You need to, for those students, they hear or they watch this one, you need to talk to your counselor and see how many credits you can have by taking this one. 15 weeks, the long of this one is just like 15 weeks. When it's a holiday, 1 week, we're not going to show up. So it's going to extend it to 16 just to fill up the hours they need for that one. 3 hours a week. It's online. Since pandemic, we moved to online classes. And with the online classes, a really open chance for non-Michigan residents here. I have many students now, they are taking the class. They live in Florida, they live in Georgia. I have one, she's gonna take the class this winter. She's, I think from North Carolina or something like that. And I have another one from Paris. She's taking the class. I have too many people or students from India, they wanna take the class, but the time kind of hard for them. Class we offer at 6 o'clock is 4 o'clock in the morning in India or something like that. So it's hard for them to attend the class at that time. The second course we offer, and that is a free, there is no credit, no college credit to be offered. And we're not gonna issue anything for that one, but we give them a course completion certification. When they finish the course with us, is for 10 weeks. And honestly, this one is in a partnership with like churches, like anything. Now I'm teaching classes with the Holy Martyrs. They very good with that. They have a classroom. People, they can visit the AramaiCstudies.org and they can click on the courses, the type of courses. They can see the images, the pictures, all the documents we offer. And I have full class. Some students, they drop, that's is normal. They drop during the class due to their business, to their time, they cannot make it. But I feel like since I start teaching the class for college, this class for college, I feel there is a lot of people are eager and thirsty to learn the language. I'm gonna be honest with you, most of the students, they take it just to save some money and time for the credit, but not all of them. I have some students, one of them, he is not a Chaldean background. He learned the language and I offer him to teach classes in behalf of me a long time ago. He's not a Chaldean background.
Well, what I want to mention to our viewers is that we are also, the Chaldean Cultural Center is currently discussing with Mahir the possibility of starting Aramaic classes in person at the center, because I know that you offer at Holy Martyrs, which is, it's on a different area in Michigan towards the east side. And then the Chaldean Cultural Center, our office is located on the west side. So then that way you are available for the different for the community who are located in different areas. So we're in discussion right now, and if you're interested to be on a list so that we can inform you when we do have the classes, please email info@chaldeanculturalcenter.org. We're really excited to be working with you in the future, because this is something that we also have an interest in, and you've obviously had such a passion, and you've dedicated so many of your years to this, not only through writing a book. I did not know that you've been teaching since you were in Iraq. I did not realize that it was that long, but thank you for all the efforts and all your commitment to this language, and we look forward to having future classes at the Chaldean Cultural Center, Aramaic classes. Thank you so much, Mahir. And then and you can check out the book, but I mean you could look at it yourself, but really it's different when you have a teacher walking you through the process. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Mahir, and everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you again for having me.
Thank you.